Divisiveness is the soul of every countdown. Sometimes we can only agree to disagree on certain titles, and over the years, those games have become infamous among the GT staff. Since the subject matter is so personal, we decided to let two voices on opposite ends of each argument make their case, and then rank each debate by relevance, intensity, and emotional impact. We'll likely never reach a consensus on whether these 10 games are universally good or bad, but it's still fun to watch us fight.
I love Metroid 2. Metroid 2 is a bland, repetitive mess and doesn't contain nearly any of the qualities that the other, better, greater Metroid games have. As you're going through the environment, everything looks exactly the same. There's no map to get you around, and so you feel like you're just going through this bland, ugly Game Boy mess. The music is grating, whereas in other Metroid games, it enhances the mood. It's atmospheric. Here, none of that is there. The power-ups aren't as good. What you're doing isn't as stimulating or as varied as it is in the other Metroid games. When Huber talks about handheld games being compromised compared to their console counterparts, I think of Metroid 2. Every single element of that game is lesser than its console counterparts.
No way. I think I really love the way Metroid 2, because it was the second iteration of this, and the first game was almost impossible to play without a map on the NES because things look so similar. And I love the way that Metroid 2's design, just like you start off and you get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and the areas just get more expansive and crazy to get around. But it starts off small, and you have kind of this central column to work through. And then, dude, power-ups, the space jump became a classic. Spider Ball became like amazing later on. It was really cool to wrap your head around the Spider Ball in Metroid 2 as well. I love some of the creature designs, and man, I'm running that music through my head right now. I dig those tunes. That's good stuff.
I love The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Brad, A Link to the Past is a game that is fondly regarded, and that's okay, does not hold up. This is a game that, played today, looks immature by any other standards, even by NES standards. A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is a game where you play a character named Link who grows up with his uncle, and he's just hanging out with his uncle in the house of Hyrule, and he just lives there. He just never really ventured out that far. And so this adventure finally drives him. He has to go save all of the maidens who don't have any names. Where do those maidens come from? Not important. They're just ladies. Save all the ladies. That is what this game is about, Brad. It's got 2 rods, 2 canes. It's just kind of like, it's poorly designed. It's just video game levels. The dungeons just feel like video game levels. They're not particularly well designed. I don't think you can make that argument for all of them. Most of them aren't memorable. Most of them have no purpose other than just, here's more puzzles for you, gamers. Like, that is like what this game is. It's just, to me, it lacks a clear progression, and worst of all, it lacks charm. This is an ugly game, ugly sprites, and the game lacks that Zelda charm.
Kyle, I've heard a lot of your opinions over like this year. I've been working with you.
Yeah.
And me and everyone else in this office, included, and probably most of the entire world, thinks you're a fucking madman.
I'm alone here. I could recognize that.
You're a madman.
Tell me why.
You don't like that he grew up here, right? You kind of didn't like that he grew up in that house, like in Hyrule and everything like that. But it's like, you go to the castle. He's never been there, probably. You go to these dungeons he's totally never been. Yeah, sure, like he's been in Hyrule, but there's areas within Hyrule he's definitely never been to. Like, he ain't never going to Death Mountain.
Yeah, because for some reason he didn't feel like it, but now he does. Where it's just like, hey, there's
Why
some
would he go
maidens
there?
up there.
There was nothing but death awaiting him.
What does he do? What was his job up until that point?
Link, he's like a teenager, dude.
There's like nothing for, this world is not fully realized. There's nowhere for him to go.
It's Super Nintendo, man. It's just like the first Zelda's in front of that, like The Legend of Zelda, you start...
You're on an adventure.
You start in the middle of nowhere, and they don't tell you what the fuck.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
They're giving you a little more humanity to Link as a character. They're showing you a little more about his life, man.
No, that's not a human. That's a guy with a little pink, like a floppy pink-haired.
I don't know why he has pink hair. I don't get that.
It's an ugly, ugly sprite.
It's just like, when I listen to your complaints, it's like, I just don't know what to fucking tell you, man. Like, my mind is blown out, dude.
Because I love Zelda games.
I know, I don't fucking understand this.
Everything I love about those other games just isn't present in this game.
Oh man, I'm not mad at you anymore, dude. I'm just fucking disappointed. I love
hate
Shadows of the Damned.
This game is just on such a juvenile level, man.
Oh no.
Like, it's full of I enjoy puns, but it's full of the worst puns. Like, I'm a Mexican, not a Mexicant. And like all of this crap about like demon pubes and this hot boner and Big Johnson and all of this stuff. And like, how in the world? And then it's like, it should be this dream team, right? It's like Suda and Mikami. And it's like, and I think of Suda and I think of like these awesome like art styles. And this whole game is just like bloody, or not bloody, but muddy purples and browns and stuff like that. There's like no real great aesthetic to it. And then it's like the tech side of it breaks down and like you got like the textures don't load for like 15 seconds when you're looking at a scene. It's just a mess. And then like, yeah, like a lot of the enemies are like, oh, shoot the giant red ruby on the back of them. I don't get it, man.
I can't even, I get that you don't like the tone of the jokes and that whole thing about, dicks and pubes and whatnot, but to criticize the art design of that game, I mean, to call it muddy is just plain wrong, Daniel Bloodworth. There are times when I would go into this village that was inside of a demon world that had this like 40s funk aesthetic jazz vibe to it, and it was like, I love the environments of this game. Every single environment had a weight and a meaning to it, and the combat was meaningful. When you would shoot those skeletons in their heads, they would just rip apart, and the heads pop right off, Bloodworth. It feels good. It's got that Resident Evil 4 Mikami feel with that crazy Suda visual psychoness. That's it.
It's so monochrome, and then like the parts that stand out are just weird, like shoving crap into babies' mouths to open doors.
Oh, it's weird.
And then,
What's wrong with weird? Suda is weird. That's what video games are great for, Bloodworth. Let's get weird. Let's get funky. Let's get nuts. Let's go into some crazy demonic realm and of madness and chaos.
But then it's just like, shove your torch up in a thing and then mash a button to make it light up. Yeah, whatever.
I
love Bioshock.
Brandon, largely the reason I hate Bioshock is the reaction to Bioshock. That people still hold this game dearly to their hearts.
So you hate the people who like Bioshock.
Yeah, it's like the Dave Matthews Band, man. Yeah, I hate you. I hate you for thinking, that's a good game. It's smart. Like, maybe it's okay to name a guy Andrew Ryan because like, Ayn Rand, this is very literal, but it's not clever to like make the final boss a giant atlas. That's no longer clever. You're no longer a good writer after you do that. And that's the thing, I think people just forget. They forget how miserable it is to fight all these things with like the mask faces. Like, ooh, don't you want to fight dirty freaks for 8 hours? No! I hate them all. And just like, they're just like, oh, the environments were out of this world, man. Meanwhile, like, you can't fully explore these environments because like of all this stupid, like, there's freaks over here, there's the propeller helicopters that make no sense. They should not be here. And yet, nonstop, there's like sirens going off because you didn't sneak around properly. There's the hacking. There's hacking in this game that is just like connect pipes together. And that's like something you can invest in. It's just, this game, Brandon, thinks it's so smart, and people still think it's so smart. It's just like, it's about video games and choice. Like every time you heard Would You Kindly, you didn't even realize, right? It's just like, no, it's a game about choice where you're not actually like given choice. You didn't give me another option. Maybe it would be a powerful thing if, yes, I had the option to do something else in this video game, but I never did. And so you make me go down this one very linear path and then wag your finger at me when I do it, even if I didn't believe in it. And then after that moment, you still make me fight a giant gold Atlas boss.
The giant gold Atlas boss was terrible.
I will admit to that.
Yeah.
I will also admit that the outcomes of your choices were not totally satisfying. But I think what is interesting about the choices that you had to make,
What choices?
whether or not to save these little sisters, is that
No! Okay, here we go. No, because here's life saving little sisters. Obviously, you shouldn't do it. Obviously, you shouldn't not save them. You shouldn't harvest them.
You get your powers,
But
man.
you'll get the bad ending if you do. You'll get the good ending if
But
you
you'll
save the little
you
girls.
also get powers. That is a part of how you level up.
That
so
is
it's that
so
So it's
uninteresting.
that greed factor where it's like if you don't care, if you're just a selfish video game player and you're just like I'm gonna crush each of these things,
Yeah.
because that's inevitably gonna make me more powerful. I thought that was an interesting.
And someone's
that
so
was an
proud of
interesting
himself for like,
sacrifice.
I saved all of the little girls and I got the good ending. Oh my god.
BioShock is one of the most interesting environments ever created in that generation, man. That's it. Like, think about how many games that came out in that generation where you're like, oh, another one of those. Like every Call of Duty that was amazing. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you're like in a barn, you know, it's like your battlefield, like, you know, even like Mass Effect or plants you go to where you're like, okay, snow, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
how fascinating is every single room that you go through?
It is
and the
wasted
whole-
on this game. That environment is great. It's wasted on
Take
BioShock.
it out of the game. You
Yeah.
can't like the entire time. Every time you looked out and you would see like giant whales or like signs and like
Yeah, then
and,
there's
like,
a helicopter
damage and
going,
figuring
me,
out-
me, me, me. I'm a helicopter. Fight me
But
now.
and that's the other thing is the world was made by a madman. Like it was made by a bunch of crazy people, and so it's not like this world should make sense. It's not like there's helicopters in this world, and it's like this isn't logical. Therefore, it shouldn't exist in this world. This environment isn't logical. You are in a madhouse, and you're trapped there. Like oxygen is running out. Like I just thought, did you not like System Shock? Did you ever play that?
I've never played System Shock,
Well,
which
don't,
is
I
probably
guess.
a big factor in this discussion.
And you can't say the music in that game isn't amazing. The music in that game made me cry the first time I heard it. Before I played that game, we got the soundtrack, and the first track just like I got weepy. Like
You heard it here. BioShock soundtrack makes Brandon cry. Everything else, mad stupid.
The world's fastest growing pilot joke. It's a little one. Here's your chance to get some Adam.
I
love
hate
Alien Isolation.
Aliens is the greatest action film that has ever been made by a human being.
Easily.
Alien, I don't know if Alien is the best horror film, but man, is it up there. Probably like top 5.
Yep.
I love these films so much. I stopped playing Alien Isolation after about 6 or 7 hours.
Couldn't
because
hack
I,
it?
Because I got, no, I did plenty of hacking.
No, you couldn't handle
I
it.
hacked a lot. Hacking's about all I did in that game. I think it's tough. I think, if I can put one compliment, one of the most gorgeous games of that gen, there's no question. But and the principle is really good. Like I know a lot of people had glitches with the aliens, but the way that Alien worked out, the way the AI works, like it's a very fascinating concept. I think that game is a great concept, and it's just a boring as hell video game. Like that game is one of the worst examples of a frustration and a fear that I have in games, kind of like Dead Space, or even games like Legend of Zelda, or like these really awesome like Journey, where you're just like going through and trying to find puzzles, and it's like. It's a really fine line whether you want to stop me in a place and really force me to figure something out, or move on and explore more of the world. And what you actually do to progress in that world, like picking up tools and fixing locks and doing things, that actual task became so menial, and it was so frustrating and scary to hide from this thing. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was like fixing crap, and I just didn't want to fix crap anymore. Like I felt like Alien Isolation was my job, as opposed to like a story that was actually unfolding and a narrative that I was like looking forward to. I was looking forward to escaping, and like that was about it. I didn't care about anybody else.
Yeah.
I didn't care to see any other part of the ship. I just wanted out of this game and this world.
The menial tasks I get, but that's not the purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to always be on your guard against this perfect creature that is hunting you. And I have never felt that vulnerable and that frightened since the Nemesis in Resident Evil 3. This thing, you never know where it is, and it feels like there are no rules in that game. Like, that is what blows my mind. It's not this, there's scripted events, but the whole game feels like anything can happen at any time. The sound, it's just always like hunting you down, and the fact that the saves are so brutal. You have to get to a save station to save your game to raise the stakes. You can't just like save scum your way through this. And then there are the robots, and it's like, do I avoid these robots, or do I like this relationship you have with the alien? That is the core of the game. It's like, I see robots, and I'm now going to throw a beacon to lure the alien out to kill these robots. And it's like, I grew this fascinating attachment to it where it became my biggest weapon and my biggest fear. And I just think that game is beautiful. And I think you getting frustrated was maybe just focusing on those menial tasks rather than just like embracing the world.
My greatest fear was that there was 15 more hours of that game.
I
love
hate
Fallout New Vegas.
But I don't know how many times we've talked about this game, and I feel like personally I have done something wrong to not like this game, but everything about it I cannot stand. I slogged my way through Fallout 3. I finished that game, and when this game came out, I gave it a fair shake like I try to do with every game, and I could not finish it. I did not care about any character I ever talked with. There were wooden, lifeless wireframe shells. I ran into so many bugs, it was unbearable. Non-stop crashes, and when I don't care enough about a world or its characters or the rewards I'm getting for going on these long journeys, I am not going to slog my way through and have to battle these bugs to try to finish this game. So it is one of the few games that I have started and hard quit about halfway through. I know I got to Vegas, there were some gangsters there. I said I'm just going to go watch Boardwalk Empire instead.
Huber, I'm not coming at you as an opponent, okay?
Of course.
Because Fallout 3 is not a Michael Huber game.
No.
The main story is terrible, and that's so key for you.
Yes.
And all the characters in the main story are terrible, but Fallout New Vegas is not like that. And it is a diamond in the rough, and I know for you, diamonds in the rough are so important.
Yes.
And I'm worried that you only saw the rough. So I'm going to give you
Okay.
two of my favorite things in Fallout New Vegas to show you why that game is so incredible, why it's so beloved, and why it might be the best Fallout game ever, and why I want to change your opinion right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm open, Ben.
There's-
Change my mind.
There's a ghoul you run into.
Okay.
Voiced by Danny Trejo. Okay? Voiced by Danny Trejo. His entire life is misery. In the Mojave Desert, he's a gunslinger. Okay? As a gunslinger, everyone he ever loved died. In a big fight, he got radiation poisoning and is wandering the waste, wondering what to do with his life. You say, come with me. And you take him, and you go on a journey. And he gives you a little bit more backstory, a little bit more backstory. You get to decide his fate after venturing with him for hours and hours and hours. And you can say, you know what? Go back, be a gunslinger. And he becomes a legend. And you go through the Mojave Desert and you hear about what he's done. Or he's like, you know what? I'm putting that life behind me. I'm going to be a mechanic.
That's pretty John.
Come visit me. There's a quest. There's a quest called Beyond the Beef. Okay? There are so many things that you can do. There's like 10 different ways that you can solve this quest. I'm just going to give you a couple of them.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So you go to this casino. There's a farmer, okay? He's bummed out. His son is missing. You investigate. You go to the woman at the front desk, and she says, we have in this casino a white glove society. We used to be cannibals, but we've put that behind us. You run into a guy named Mortimer. And if you build your character a certain way, you can convince him that you're a cannibal. And you can say, let's return the White Glove Society to their former glory. Let's be cannibals. And you can go and you can eat the farmer's son. Or if you want to save him, you can offer one of your own companions as food for their secret banquet. This character that you've been adventuring with this whole time, you can just be a complete asshole and give them to the society.
So
these are not just in Fallout 4. Here's how you solve everything, Huber.
Yeah.
You go into a room and you kill it.
Shoot him, yeah,
you
yeah.
shoot it. In Fallout New Vegas, your character can role play in a role playing video game.
So I respect some of that, okay? Honestly, like that Danny Trejo arc sounds really cool. But two things about all of those things
All right.
in Fallout really bug me. One, a lot of that minor stuff has no impact on the larger game world or the ending of the game. The end of the game usually comes down to like, which of these 4 sides am I gonna take? Also, going through all that, like while you play the game, like the story itself and all of the side sub-stories are pretty interesting, really cool. Like Fallout 4, love Nick Valentine, like one of my favorite characters last year. But like actually going into a place and like having to shoot things, or just like that wooden, stiff conversation that characters have with each other is just too much. It just takes me out.
I think your bad experiences with Fallout 4 and Fallout 3, which are not Michael Huber games, are coloring your impression of Fallout New Vegas.
Fallout New Vegas was even more buggy than Fallout
but
3 and 4.
it's better now.
I
hate
love
Kingdom
Kingdom Hearts.
Brad, I love Disney. I love Disney.
Yeah.
I love Disney passionately. I love Final Fantasy. I'm endeared to these characters. I want to go to both of their worlds in any entertainment medium that is available to me. And I just have absolutely no interest in getting into the world of Kingdom Hearts. The thing that frustrates me the most about Kingdom Hearts is its laser focus on these characters that to me are interesting in and of themselves. And while I haven't played Kingdom Hearts, you know I've done extensive research based on the writings of Michael Damiani into this world. So like, I get it. I get how all this stuff works. I get, I didn't know who Naminé was when I played Kingdom Hearts 2, but boy do I know now. I don't understand why the necessity to create these additional characters, and therefore, in my opinion, almost pushing the Final Fantasy characters to the point of complete irrelevance in the story, where it's just like, why are they even here? And setting up these weird, connections between characters, and most specifically Mickey. It's like, I don't know who that is. Like that, the Mickey in Kingdom Hearts doesn't remind me of any Mickey ever. So it doesn't seem like he came from a world that I already knew and loved and is now existing in this Kingdom Hearts world. It's like Square just kind of like had their way with Mickey Mouse and made this weird, like, still kind of jolly, but mostly super serious and like crazy warrior with the fate of all universes. It just, no.
I mean, I totally get why people don't like it. Like, the story is fucking out of control. Like, there's so many things I just forget. Like, I forgot so much of it. It's fucking nuts. You need you need to be like following a guy while you're playing that game. But I think the Disney characters and the Final Fantasy characters for sure are not the exact main focus, but they're like the support of the franchise.
You're not selling it, Brad.
What do you want me like?
Why do you play Kingdom Hearts?
Because I do love the main cast. I do love Sora, Riku, and Kairi. I love all those guys. Like Roxas, Aqua, Terra. Like, I do love all their stories. And you party it with Donald and Goofy, man. You're going to Disney movies and fighting with Donald and Goofy is like the sickest shit ever. I will not buy that. That game is the craziest fan fiction ever. And it's real. And it's awesome, dude. And I wouldn't have it any other way, man. It's too fun, dude.
There are many other worlds out there besides your own. They've remained secret from one another because they've never been connected.
I hate Knack. Knack is a game that when it was about to come out, I was like, oh my gosh, look how colorful it is, look how vibrant it is. We could get a new sort of Ratchet and Clank, a new Jak and Daxter. PlayStation 4, it's happening. Knack is one of the most depressing games I've ever played. Yes, depressing because of what I expected out of it. Every single character is a caricature that you've seen 1,000 times before. And I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just going to focus on Knack. Knack just sort of is. There's no development. He doesn't grow or change all throughout the story.
Oh, he grows.
All he is just he's just like a less offensive version of Bombshell. Just there to spit one-liners that are not funny, and the game just keeps throwing it, and you're like, God, Knack, shut up!
He's funny.
Shut up, Knack!
He's so cool.
And even worse, every single level is exactly the same.
No, wrong.
Yes, every single level is exactly the same. You go, oh, here's a small room of enemies. I use my 3-punch combo, my 1 fucking jump attack, or a few Sunstone abilities. Every single room. And cool things like the wood armor and the ice armor that could have mixed up the game are used like a couple of times and then forgotten about completely. It is a slog the entire way.
Love the environments in that game, first of all.
The corridors?
The jungle, the mansion,
Yeah.
the caves.
They're very pretty straight lines.
Cities. Straight lines is fine because there are cleverly hidden secrets in that game.
Yeah, the randomized loot where you never get to put together anything, and
Second
it's like, hey,
playthrough.
oh no, it's not just second playthrough. It's like, hey, why don't you play through Knack 4 times? Because
Yeah.
once wasn't enough.
I've played through it multiple times.
Good games give you secrets that are awesome and complete the first time through.
So when you say Knack doesn't grow, come on. There are levels where you start this small. You go through, you're hiding behind cars and enemies that can just destroy you in one hit. By the time you get
I'm
to
saying
the
as
end,
a character,
you are this
not physically
No,
growing.
I'm saying physically. You grow into this.
I
tiny-
know he physically grows.
Going from hiding behind cars to picking them up and hurling them at enemies. And sure, the combat isn't like Bayonetta levels, but it doesn't need to be because it keeps you on your toes. You die in that game so fast. It's always a matter of like reflexes and quick reaction times. It's not like this easy just 1, 2, 3 hit. You have to dodge, you have to move, you have to focus in on the game, and it's just a jolly good time. It's beautiful to look at. It's not the most technically demanding game, but there's just colors, there's a jolly character, and I think you, Ben Moore, may have expected something that it wasn't.
You know, if you might be right. You might be right. What I expected was a good game, and I did not get that.
Sorry.
I hate Borderlands 2.
Because they love.
Oh my god, dude. Let's talk about what's in the content of the game.
Okay.
Something you hate already. Dumb memes. The double rainbow meme? An internet video is in a fucking video game. That is the worst thing you could ever do. The gameplay itself is shit.
I'm not gonna allow that. What do you mean by gameplay?
Just shooting your gun, like it is so fucking boring and the stakes are never raised. It always feels like you're just cruising that whole game, dude. It's boring as fuck. Minecraft creepers are in this game. Why are there fucking Minecraft creepers in here?
That's just an
They are
Easter
bringing.
egg.
That is the dumb. That is a problem with this game. This game is filled with fucking Easter eggs. You remember this? Remember this? Remember this? Let's put in Borderlands 2. They had the audacity to throw in Dark Souls into this piece of filth. How dare they? How fucking dare they do that to us, man? And the writing, dude. Oh my god, the writing. The jokes. Everyone in this game is a fucking nightmare. The most annoying characters I've ever encountered in any video game is in Borderlands 2. And I want to talk about Handsome Jack real quick.
Oh god.
A quote Michael Huber said to me. First of all, stop fucking hyping Handsome Jack up. He's trash, dude. Let it go, all right? People, this is a quote from Mike Huber. People were told to like Handsome Jack, so they do. And that's it. Every fucking thing, like all this bullshit that they do is like, Handsome Jack's in this. The Handsome Jack collection. Get fucked, Handsome Jack. No one gives a shit.
All right, Brad, all those things you said are very true. I think the writing's actually even worse when it's trying to be serious.
Oh my god.
When that falcon dies and you're like supposed to feel anything. Here's what I gotta say about Borderlands 2 though.
Let me hear it.
This is a world unlike others you see in video games. It's a full world that you get to plunge into and pillar. And
You do that in so many games.
But it's unique. This looks unique. There are
Because it
areas
has
of this
cell
game-
shading?
Yeah, I haven't seen areas that look like this in other video games. And so it's just fun to do that with 3 other people. It's like, what if Destiny had a progression? You know, what if Destiny was a complete world that you fully explored and you like found new areas? And you know, like that is what this feels like to me.
Oh man.
I enjoy the act of Borderlands 2.
Oh man.
Yeah, you don't?
That game with multiplayer
Yeah.
is not even any more fun whatsoever. It's just like you're okay, Borderlands 2 is like you're in a plane crash, dude. It's going down. And when you're talking about co-op, you're going down with innocent bystanders now, dude. That's what Borderlands 2 is.
I hear bully bots! Sick of minion! Protect me, Squire!
I love
hate
The Last of Us.
Disclaimer, you bastards. I know that this is my opinion. This is my opinion. It's gonna be all right. It's fine. Last of Us is a bad game. And here's why. Because it doesn't know what it wants to be. This is a classic Naughty Dog thing. It works a little better in the Uncharted series because they're fun, kind of. So like, like the people in the game are fun, whereas this game is so sacrosanct and self-serious that it's just like, oh hey, we're this big serious TV show, but oh, you're playing it also, and that, but why? Like, the story is pretty run-of-the-mill. It's a tired setting. I'm just tired of it. Like, it's literally starts like, it's just, stop it. And then like, Naughty Dog game design, like you have yellow indicators on anything you can jump up to, or oh, you need to move this thing over there, better go to the yellow thing, and like, walking into the city hall, and there's a bunch of waist-high barriers. It's like, oh, okay, I'm about to get into a shootout in here. Like, that'll be fun in 10 minutes when that happens. Like, oh, I'll pretend to be surprised. It doesn't help the realistic tone. Crafting is annoying. It's not fun. Shiv's breaking is lazy design because it just makes you have to dick around with crafting all the time, and there's no reason for that. Just make a game that is fun, and I won't have to, like, make these stupid shivs all the time. The game is a giant escort mission, and those aren't good. The AI companions are immersion-destroying morons. Like, oh, here I'm sneaking through a room full of clickers. Oh, here's Ellie. Oh, sorry. Clickers don't hear that. But if I, like, hit a can, I die. It's ridiculous. And then the gameplay is at odds with the world. Yeah, like, why is this a game? You don't have any player agency. There's no choice. You can't choose to save humanity or Ellie at the end. It just happens. It's like, okay, great. I get that you're telling this framed, like, this specific story about this grizzled asshole, but, like, why do I care? I don't. So I stop playing you. And, like, I don't know. In a game, like, I want to discover the story. I want there to be lore. I don't need it to be fist-fed to me like a TV series. I'm playing you. I'm not watching you. Oh, this game is... It's whatever, dude.
I'm glad we can work through this, Ian. I'm glad we can sit down, and I'm glad we can figure this out together.
Go for it.
I believe in escort quests. Dude, I play a lot of MMOs, and I hate escort quests. I'm there with you, but like, I'm not going to give up on the genre just based on principle.
Resident Evil 4 was all right.
I think there were a lot of things. I mean, well, if you want to bring up Resident Evil 4, that was maybe that's the difference. Is like that was a fun game. I would say more of a fun game than Last of Us is. But I hated, the President's daughter. Like I didn't care about her in that game. And I think one of the fascinating things about you hating the game is I think a lot of what drives that story for me is that question of should you care about this person? Should you care about this world? Should you actually keep moving and get up? It's like, that's why it's so, you're so crestfallen when you see him fall off his horse and you realize like now she has to go, help him. And so I think it's a fascinating exploration to me in that question of what are you willing to do to survive? How far will you go to survive? If once you go along this road, like how will it change you?
I have a rebuttal to that.
There are waist-high walls everywhere, but like I think it's unfair to single out Last of Us because to me, even the game like Bloodborne, which you love, it's like I walk into a chapel that has clearly no items I need to pick up, no exit. It's like, gee, I wonder what's gonna happen in a boss fight. It's like
except for in that one room when there isn't a boss fight.
True, and I would have to have played Last of Us recently to figure out if there are ways that like they turn that on its head and like put you in situations where and it does change things up. Like there are instances where you have enemies like behind you and you have to run to parts. Like there are parts where you have to like get to get to certain characters that you're separated in interesting ways. One final thing that really drew me into that, and initially I loved a lot about Uncharted, which just how Nathan talks, like how he interacts with things and how he'll just offer opinions and start talking, and like I'm searching for believable dialogue always in games, and it's something I really want. And there were a lot of moments to me that weren't like like when I play Destiny and I walk up to a quest giver who's just standing here, and it's like I don't go anywhere. I literally just stand here the entire time. And now I was finally playing a game where all I had to do was just walk towards someone, and they would directly look at me and have eye contact and comment about where I was standing and if I was aiming at something and like if I was picking up an item. And like there's one scene in the bar where you're with your friend and you go to leave and you don't like press a button to open the door and that triggers everything. You just walk towards the door and the AI just knows what you're doing. So to me that offset any of the awkwardness that I'd have in combat. And I think I was also just lucky to actually never get that. I played it twice because they did New Game Plus and Ellie never like ran in. I think your first companion the older gal whose name I can't
Tess,
remember.
I think?
Tess. Yeah, I think
Something like
she did something dumb.
Yeah.
And there's a couple moments in the game where they force you to do something dumb, which frustrates me a little bit. But Grand Theft Auto 5 is still a better game that year. But Last of Us rocked me to the core. I really. I think it shouldn't be a movie. I think it works better in a game because of its length and because of it actually putting those guns in your hands, like having the aiming be really tough. So like every headshot is really gratifying. But I'm not going to change your mind. So.
Well, here I have one rebuttal to your thing, because you talked about making the choice to care about these people and like what would I do in this situation. This game doesn't ask you that. This game says, here's what Joel would do in this situation. You don't have a choice. You just go through the corridors, you know, quote unquote. I know they're not literally linear corridors, but like sometimes they are. But like you don't have a say in it.
Do you have a say not to kill the monsters in Bloodborne?
Some of them.
I was never a big fan of these things.
Agree to disagree?
All right.
I hate the little sisters. I hate those little sisters so much, dude. Oh, God. Will you save the little girls? Oh my God. I'm still worked up.
We issued a trailer score for the promotional parody that is the debut of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and the incredible XCOM 2 is one of our highest reviewed games of 2016 so far. Don't miss Ben Moore's expert analysis. We'll see you next week for another GT Countdown.